Welcome to another edition of Kiwanis Conversations. My name is John Maihos for the Kiwanis Club of Beverly. People ask, what is Kiwanis? Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world, one child and one community at a time. I'm really pleased today to have with me two people who have really acted all around the North Shore, or something like that anyway, from striving artists Greg Luzitano and Jeremy Funke. Welcome to the show, guys.
Pleasure to be here.
Very happy to have you with us today. Thank you very much. Now, you folks are co-directors.
Yes.
Co-directors. That means you share something, apparently.
We do.
Yeah, that's good. And what you're going to share is the production of a Shakespearean play that's going to be acted out in Beverly and some other communities in the area. Tell me the name of the play first.
Sure. So it's the Henriad, which is sort of, there's a cycle of 4 plays that Shakespeare wrote that follows a series of characters historically as they age. So there, over the span of it, there are 3 different monarchs, and combining those together into a single sort of production where, you know, using the Henriad as the overall title.
Did you make up this name? I mean, is this real? What's going on?
I feel like
Did somebody else do this?
It exists in scholarship.
Yeah.
So there were actually Shakespeare wrote comedies and he wrote tragedies and he wrote this sort of nebulous genre known as the history plays, and 8 of them fall under 2 tetralogies. The first of which is commonly
tetralogies. That's like a really big word. You know, I'm not used to that on Kiwanis Conversations. That's something else.
Yeah. George Lucas was a hack. It takes 4 to make a series. So there are 2, and the first one starts with Richard II, who is deposed by Henry IV, who is succeeded by his son Henry V, who gives us, you know, Band of Brothers and Once More Into the Breach, Dear Friends, and The Games Afoot, and all of these famous phrases.
Right.
I love it when you talk like that. That's crazy. That's crazy. So now, Greg and Jeremy, are you North Shore guys? Tell us a little bit about your background.
So we met in high school in Taunton at Coyle and Cassidy. Give a shout out there.
Shout out, yeah, all you get.
Mary Pat Trainer. And we acted together there. One of the first things that we were in together was Romeo and Juliet. And
Now, which was Romeo?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to remember. It was so long ago.
Right.
Actually, fun fact, I played Juliet's father because even at like age 16, I looked 45. So, you know, it was appropriate. But, you know, we worked together there, and even in college, Jeremy went to Harvard, I went to Salve Regina. He would come in to assist me on my shows. I would go and act for him, you know, at various points in time. So we've had this sort of ongoing creative relationship. He was there at the very beginning when we first founded Striving Artists, at this point nearly 11 years ago, and wrote some of our earliest material and acted in it as well, and then moved to Connecticut. So it's been a decade or something since
It's been, well, I think the last time that we worked together was 2009 on a Striving Artists summer Shakespeare production, where I was gearing up for probably my first vacation in a very long time, and I was going to go up to Massachusetts from Connecticut and just spend some time drinking on my porch. And as I'm packing my bag, I get a call from Greg, and he says, "Hey, would you like to come up and play Benedict?" And I said, "No. When does it open?" He said, "Well, about." Was it 2 weeks?
Is there beer involved?
There's not enough time, but so I came up and had an absolute blast, and would have loved to come up more, but was able to, you know, cut down the scripts summer after summer for a few years and get them down to a manageable playing length, and so trying to stay involved even at a distance.
So you've known each other for a long time, worked together
20 years or more.
through a lot of fun, and this whole project called Striving Artists is what has you together again.
It is,
and that's terrific.
Yeah, we've sort of come full circle this year.
So a little bit about Striving Artists. Who gets involved in this? Is this professional? Is it amateur? Sure. Who does this? Other than you.
There are some days that I feel like an amateur, you know? But we're a nonprofit. We, you know, so for instance, this summer program is sort of a grant-based program typically through the Cultural Council. And we we do a number of different things. We do some short films. In fact, as soon as I finish this, I'm driving to Somerville to take in a screening of our newest one.
Oh, terrific! Congratulations.
Thank you. We have we have a music branch where we do a lot of recording, and then there's the Summer Shakespeare Show, and then we have other more contemporary shows throughout the year. We also perform in Rhode Island some of the time, which is exciting that we sort of have like this north and south.
I saw that you were performing at Merrimack College.
Yes, that's right. That's right, exactly.
My alma mater. Shout out to Merrimack College.
Terrific,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, very, very cool place. Father Rick, who's in charge of that department, he reached out to us last year and asked if we wanted to add sort of a performance at the end of our run, because we toured.
You've got three days there.
Yeah, right. So this year now we're expanding on that, and the most exciting thing about that for me is that baking in the hot sun. Our expectation for our audience, for instance, when we perform at Hale Farm. Because this is 4 plays, we've basically cut it down the middle. So day 1 will be material from the first 2 plays, day 2 will be material from the second 2 plays. And you don't have to come to one to enjoy the other.
Okay, so you can enjoy either one of these days in full without seeing the other. But you could come and see both.
You could. And then the last day, the Sunday at Merrimack, because it's indoors and we feel like people can perhaps tolerate the length a bit more, there'll be an opportunity to take in the whole thing as like a marathon kind of performance. So.
Now, when I go and see this, which is now the first, there is a showing in Beverly at Hale Park, right?
Hale Farm.
Say Hale Farm. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And tell me those dates.
July 22nd and 23rd.
So for the most part, anybody watching Kiwanis Conversations today will want to mark down July in their calendar.
Yes.
And July 22nd and 23rd?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be in the afternoon at Hale Farm in Beverly.
Yep.
Is this a bring chairs kind of thing?
You can, yes, for what it's worth.
Bring what?
Bring chairs.
Bring a chair. Okay,
bring
so we'll be outside. Bring a chair.
Picnic if you so desire.
All right.
Yeah. People,
and what will I expect to see? What can I expect when I come in and enjoy this?
You want to describe it?
Sure. Let's see what we can do.
We'll fill in the gaps for each other.
So it's one of the particular challenges of any history play, let alone 4 history plays, is all of them have notoriously large casts. And so to do a comedy like Twelfth Night, which you can probably do with as few as like 10 or 12 people without too much double casting, we have a cast of 12 playing probably upwards of 60 or 70 parts.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
That takes a very versatile actor.
It does. Yes.
Yes.
And I should say, we have been blessed to have exceptionally talented people who are able to navigate that and just keep it straight.
And very highly trained people as well. I was really surprised at not surprised, but impressed with the caliber of people who came out for us at auditions. Because something like this, it's not a Romeo and Juliet or a Midsummer Night's Dream where it's, every young girl's dream to play Juliet. It's, you have to be a pretty hardcore Shakespeare fan to say, oh yeah, I want to spend 8 weeks doing nothing but this.
Yeah.
Will I feel as excited about seeing it?
I think so. I think so.
Or far more excited.
There's no, we were talking about this, in sort of the pre-production phase of the thing where we have really no hope of making sure that the audience is crystal clear on, well, that actor is playing Sir Walter Blunt in this scene, and this scene, but in between, they're
he
playing
jumps over and he's the janitor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent.
The janitor is a very maligned character in Shakespeare, and we're sort of embracing that and making sure that the relationships are consistently clear throughout, so that you're sort of free of the obligation of keeping track of, well, this person has 5 names and he's referred to by all of them. You don't have to follow that. You just have to pay attention to the main players, and the ensemble is bolstering it.
Yeah.
So we're selling it kind of as almost like a minstrel show.
Yeah.
Of these traveling players show up with minimal props and a minimal set, because we do have to travel. And making sure that the costume pieces are influencing their characters but not overwhelming us. And in terms of what you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of very interesting familial relationships, both within families and between families, and hopefully some really compelling staging, and hopefully some really fun sword fighting.
Well, it sounds fun. Sword fighting. I can't wait for this. That
Yeah, you
sounds
got
really
it.
good. You got my attention.
I
All of a
buried the
sudden.
lead a little bit there.
For anybody
yeah.
just tuning in, you're watching another edition of Kiwanis Conversations. My name is John Maihos for the Kiwanis Club of Beverly, and I have with me guests Greg Luzitano, I'm sorry.
Gregory, I think my mother's talking.
Jeremy Funke. And it sounds like fun. So sword fighting, no kidding.
Well-
do you use like real swords? I just want to know.
I don't think that our insurance policy would be
they
happy
wouldn't
if we
cover
did,
that, huh?
But no, I mean, you know, there are several battles throughout this, and one of the things that we're particularly excited to try to figure out with our fight director, Laura Fury, is, you know, how to stage with only 12 people.
Right.
You know, something that is meant to represent enormous armies with huge numbers of people. But I think that's something that theater is able to do. In a movie, you can't get away with
So
that.
audience
You know what I mean?
participation is not encouraged.
If you come early enough, we could probably teach you a couple of moves, but you know.
can be an extra.
Right, yeah. You die right away.
Yes.
But really, you know, I mean, that's a part of it, but at its heart is really, you know, there's this sort of coming of age where, you know, Prince Hal, aka Henry V, starts off spending all of his time with, you know, in the bar with these lowlifes, including Falstaff, one of Shakespeare's sort of more revered.
I could be on either
characters.
side of that.
Right? Yeah. And the Henry IV, his father, has very low expectations for his son being capable of taking over the role of king someday and actually being remotely effective. So there is, as you know, Jeremy alluded to, a lot of that's a familial thing.
So
at the
father
heart of
really
it.
doesn't trust son to do the job.
Right.
Not sure if I'm really going to give this guy the crown.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting it.
Yeah,
I'm
and then
slow,
he sort of
but-
needs to prove himself over time, and gradually by the end of it is, you know, a young king needing to take over the role at war with France, and needs to, you know, demonstrate his mettle. And incidentally, I keep saying his and him and whatnot, but one other layer to this particular production is that because we knew that we only had 12 people who were going to need to play so many, we cast it in a way that gender was irrelevant.
Sure.
So you have women who in one scene they're a woman and then in the next scene they're a man. You have men who in one scene are a man and one scene are a woman. It just depends on whatever that particular scene needs. So it's an additional layer of sort of interest for the performers to transform themselves again and again.
Again,
and again,
really
you know.
versatile actors.
Yes,
And,
very-
that
very
is
often the
really,
phrase-
really terrific.
very
You know, I want to
sorry.
talk more about
Yeah.
the costuming and all the different things,
Okay.
what people do to get involved in a production like yours. And we'll do that. We do have just a quick word here from Kiwanis International, and we have a really kind of nice graphic from the great play, The Henriad, coming up too. We'll be back right after this.
Kids show so much creativity in one little finger. Of course, where's that little finger been? Even if they slip, we're here to catch them.
Welcome back to Kiwanis Conversations. My name is John Maihos for the Kiwanis Club of Beverly, and with me today, Greg Luzitano, Jeremy Funke for Striving Artists. Now, I almost want to say struggling artists because that's kind of what I think about when I think of artists, especially maybe with local theater. How'd you come up with Striving Artists?
Well, you know, we we went with a couple of those other things like Struggling Artists,
was
any
taken.
of those. Yeah, and
Please feed us artists.
right. Well,
.com.
number one, I thought, well, that's pessimistic. I'll go with, but also, I think that when you are doing local theater, when you're doing community theater, when you're relying on grants and donations and sort of goodwill and stuff like that, striving is what you need to be prepared to do.
Sure.
You know, sort of at all time, and it's you know, that sort of innate desire to keep pushing forward with what you're doing and to always strive to do something better than you did it the last time. So it felt like sort of a nice summation of our philosophy. Not that that's a unique philosophy to us or anything, but it just it felt right for what we were going to be doing, and I'm very proud of sort of the nearly 11 years.
And it's a 501c3. It's a public nonprofit.
Yep.
So people can actually donate.
Please do.
To your organization. In fact, I stumbled on your website this afternoon and strivingartists.com. Org. Okay, I'm sorry. Strivingartist.org. Maybe I went to somewhere else. I don't know.
I know, right? Who are these people also putting on the Henriad?
Strivingartist.org. And I did click the donate button. I'm sorry, I actually didn't donate anything at that moment.
You clicked it to make sure it worked.
But I did want to make sure that it worked. So anybody who did want to go out to your website, they can do that. Yep. And who gives to artists like yourselves who do this all throughout the year?
All kinds of people. There are some people who do just a yearly donation to us who saw one thing that we did years ago and they don't even live here, but they just felt like they wanted to continue to support what we're doing. I mean, it helps, I think, that even if you aren't local, we have a lot of stuff on our YouTube page. We have the short films, we have the music, so you can still sort of take things in even if you can't attend a live show, even though obviously that's the core of what we do. But all kind, people who just appreciate what the arts are able to bring. I think that we frequently cast people who maybe don't have a resume that's extraordinarily long.
Are they all professionals or are they amateurs?
Yeah, I mean, they're just people who have day jobs. Okay. Or students in many cases.
So you might have students from college or high school?
If high school even,
If a high school student here at Beverly High School had some interest.
Please, by all means.
Yeah, check it out, call
Absolutely.
you, do whatever it is, make a connection, and maybe there's something they can do on the performance.
Yeah, and I think that the nature of what we do, because there are so many different avenues to it, even if we don't have a show coming up with auditions or something, it's always fine for somebody to go to our Facebook page or go to our Instagram or something and just send a message saying, hey, can you add me to your mailing list, or can you let me know, is there anything else that you might be doing that you haven't advertised yet, but where you may need some additional people, because we're sort of always doing something, so it's definitely worth making.
And I'm sure there are other support roles that people could get involved with.
Yeah,
I noticed
absolutely.
You have a marketing coordinator out there and does all that, make sure that the word gets out.
Right. So yes, we're right. We there may be staff or board members. So there are some people who say, I cannot stand in front of a crowd and say a single word, but I'll tell you what I can do, and that's go out and knock door to door and say who wants to donate something for a fundraiser, or I'm really good at grant writing, or I'm great at doing press releases or things like that. There's all kinds of things that happen administratively that don't necessarily even have a creative component to it, but which are absolutely necessary to make the creative part happen.
Now, in addition to being co-directors, are you also in the performance?
No. Well,
get out of town.
You never know. Someone could become ill or something.
Are you somebody's understudy? I know.
Well, we're understudying all of them, I suppose, in a way. But no, this actually, I'm going to do this again.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the first year, I was saying to Jeremy, the first Summer Shakespeare where I think I'm going to be able to actually just sit in the audience and watch it on the day of, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, I mean, certainly there are parts in here that neither of us would mind.
Right. The sword fighting especially,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm kind of focused on that.
Right, yeah.
I don't know why.
So I'll tell you, as we get closer, I'll tell you precisely the time that you want to arrive.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You can catch the swords.
Just to see the swords.
Right.
I know it.
Where are the swords?
Yeah. And the costumes are something else that I wanted to talk about. How do you create your costumes?
Yeah. So we have somebody, Linda Stockman, who is building them this year. The particular challenge for her is because characters are coming in and out, sometimes with less than 30
fast
changes in
changes.
between,
Sure.
they're needing to convert themselves into something else, come back in, and it has to be precise enough that the audience immediately is able to tell, oh, even though this is the same face that I
They're
just
different.
saw 30 seconds ago, they are not the same person
That's
that they
right.
were.
Yeah, interesting.
And part of that's incumbent upon the actor's physicality and
Absolutely.
characterization
sure.
and vocal work,
Yeah.
but the costumes certainly visually are the biggest aid.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, part of what we're going to try to do, we don't want people in a whole bunch of medieval clothes, or frankly, as we get towards the end,
So what
closer
do they
to
dress
Tudor.
in? Like pinstripe business suits?
No, I mean, so in previous years, we've sort of done what I say is we spin the wheel of decades and see where it lands and go, the 70s this year. But this year we're not doing that. Instead, because we feel like because it's 12 people, we're ignoring their gender. We're ignoring that they're playing 1,000 different people. So the costumes will be a little bit medieval, a little bit modern. There will be representative. The idea will be that a single item can tell you, oh, I get it, right now that's a soldier, without needing to see an entire suit of armor and a horse to make it play.
There are horses too?
Well,
Okay, no,
not yet.
maybe not. We'll just have
We
to
could get a
pretend.
hobby horse and have Falstaff bounce around and across the, for
For
someone
anybody
following
just
with
tuning in,
coconuts.
you're watching another edition of Kiwanis Conversations. My name is John Maihos, and it's kind of a fun time. We're talking about the Henriad, which is going to be a performance by the striving artists of the North Shore area, pretty much, I would think. And that's going to be in Beverly at the Hale Farm. And that's coming up in July. So make sure you mark it on your calendar, Saturday, July 22nd and Sunday, July 23rd. And they're both in the afternoons. Might be a little hot out, bring your chair. I don't know, can we have beverages? Adult beverages? Maybe not, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, we won't say.
Officially?
Yeah, officially no, let's not do
Right.
that. So please do not bring adult beverages. But it should be a lot of fun, and yeah.
So that'll be the one that you skip.
That's great. And now, when I leave this play, what am I going to think about the Henriad? What am I going to think? Am I going to say, wow, that was a funny thing? Am I going to say, oh, what a great story, what a love story? Or, oh, wow, that was pretty depressing.
You will feel
Yeah.
a number of things. It is
Okay.
very, very funny.
Yeah.
When Falstaff and the various compadres at the pub are getting into shenanigans, that is very, very funny. One thing that Shakespeare is really good at is sort of having a really funny scene and then something very tragic happening, in the blink of an eye.
That's kind of like life.
That's exactly it. So I think that people can expect to be, I think, very emotionally invested in the struggle to earn a father's approval. I think that's a very powerful thing. One thing that Jeremy has talked about a lot in rehearsal is the struggle when you are in a position of power to be forced to make decisions that may not be easy, but are necessary, and seeing these characters need to grapple with, well, yeah, we were friends before, but now I am.
Oh, you're the king.
Yes. And we may not be on the same side of a particular situation at all times, and I have to do what's right for the country, even if, we used to bunk together. Particularly, and I think that that's something that really comes from having all four of these plays where you see these characters sort of age and develop and change their allegiances, and the weight of all of that personal history accumulating as it goes on. Quite literally in our production, the ghosts of the past sort of come into.
You
come
talk
to
about
bear.
rehearsal. About how many hours you're putting into rehearsing to make this a stellar performance.
How quickly can we do the math?
Pretty quickly.
5 times a week.
So it'll be,
5 times a week.
Yeah, it'll be about 120 hours of rehearsal, probably
golly.
closer to like 140 as we add more.
How long is the performance then?
Okay, so we don't know for sure.
Okay,
we know
what's
what
the
we're
expectation, targeting?
I think that probably the day where it's both of them, or all 4,
Sure.
will be somewhere. It will be more than 3 hours, not horribly more than 3 hours.
Okay, so I had to
it's not the
invest-
length of Hamlet.
Yeah, okay.
But it's
Which, by the way, meant nothing to me, but that's okay. Just so you know.
Hamlet's sort of at least our benchmark for what does an uncut Shakespeare play look like?
yeah, what's sort of the longest that it's
So we're
possibly
going for
made.
2 to 3 hours, pretty much for
If
the
you-
half day, the 1 day
If you come
in
to
Beverly.
if you come to the 1 day, then it's probably it will be under 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It'll
So that's
probably
what
be
we should
between
plan.
an hour and a half.
And do we know
yeah.
what time of day it is yet?
4.
4 o'clock?
4.
So, okay, that's
The
great.
Merrimack
And
ones will be different because they're indoors. so
what will
that'll
I
be-
pay for this?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing, John.
Wait, I'm getting all of this for free?
You are. Sword
we
fights.
We got to donate.
Sword fights
We've
for
gotta,
free.
Right? You got to donate then. If you're
Yes.
getting it for free, you just
Well,
gotta,
I mean, it's because we have support from
Yeah.
cultural programs.
And
that
theoretically,
support
at the
us.
end of the show, you go around with a bucket or something. Maybe
we
no?
do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
How did
we
I
do.
know?
We usually
The co-directors will also take donations in the form of adult beverages.
What else is happening? We got about a minute left, and I want to wrap up with some exciting things that are happening in the rest of the year too. So after we see the Henriad from
Yeah.
you, what else are we going to look forward
Well,
to?
next up the short film will be released any day now. By the time
Okay.
this airs, it will already be out. We have a collection of shorts written by a local writer, William Donnelly, in the fall. In December, we'll be doing our 9th holiday show, which is original stuff and music and what I know, right? And we still have our recent recording of Jesus Christ Superstar.
And that's available
out there.
on sale on the website?
Yes, it is on the website or CD.
Little proceed
or,
going to the striving artists?
Yep, you
oh,
got it.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, there's a story we're just not going to have time to talk about, but the high school Latin teacher, I think, has some significance to you guys. We might just have to leave that for maybe somebody will see you at the play and come up and say to you, tell me about your high school Latin teacher.
He may even be
could
there.
happen. He might.
You never know.
I'd like to remind everybody that you've been watching another edition of Kiwanis Conversations. My name is John Maihos for the Kiwanis Club of Beverly. And please remember that kids need Kiwanis. So if you happen to enjoy helping out with programs that help kids all around the North Shore, and especially Beverly, Hamilton, and Wenham, then please consider visiting a Kiwanis Club meeting. We meet the first Tuesday of every month, except when it's a holiday, so don't come July 4th. My name is John Maihos for the Kiwanis Club of Beverly. What is Kiwanis? A global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world, one child and one community at a time. Go see the Henriad.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.